Welcome, Tailgate Legends. Man, can't believe, I know I say it all the time, I can't believe we're at week 11. Um, some really tight races in the divisions right now. Some teams are completely out of it. Got a few teams still fighting for a playoff spot. Right now, as it stands, Sam and Co. and UFan touch this. Sam and Lemke are in first place in their division. Slim Brady is at 5-5 in third place. Hot on his tail is Ricky 2000, one game back. And then Cheeseheads with Attitude. Landon's only 2 games back, 2 games from the playoffs, so there's still hope. And then there's Evan Shearer. He has no chance. I'm pretty sure he's eliminated mathematically from the playoffs. He is 1-9. He has been the low scorer of the week 3 weeks in a row, 4 times total, including the lowest score this past week that this league has ever seen, 47.84 points. He had a lot of people on a bye week. I looked at his roster. From what I saw, he fielded his full roster that he could have. I didn't see any player on his bench that could have started. Everybody was either injured or on a bye. I am assuming he didn't want to turn over a bunch of players he probably didn't want to cut for just shit players. So I'm assuming he gave up on the week. And then in our division, Mr. Fist is in first at 8-2. I'm at 7-3. Greasers, Mike and Mike are at 6-4, and then 2 games back from them is Prusky, Shit the Bed Fred at 4-6, Fresh Prince of Elaire, Boggs at 3-7, and Yacht also at 3-7. So still got some tight races. Like even Yacht, he's in last place. He's only 3 games back from the playoffs, so not quite mathematically eliminated yet. So, got a great video for you guys. Going to run through last week's matchups. And then I'm going to do a segment. I don't have a name for it, but I'm just going to list each team's most surprising player and most disappointing player, in my opinion. I have not gone through and even really looked at the rosters, so I'm just going to kind of wing it, I guess. And then we'll go through next week's matchups, or this week's matchups. Today's Thursday, so yeah. So we'll get right into it. Last week's matchups. God, I can't believe it's week 11 already. Last week's matchups. First, we have Cheeseheads with Attitude against the Greasers. Landon against Mike and Mike. Landon got the win, 139-102. 3 wins on the year. Landon's team is not looking that bad. Every single one of his players hit double digits, except for Mason Crosby. Only got 5 points, but solid week around. And then Greasers kind of shit the bed a little bit, other than Mark Ingram. So they only put up 102. But man, Landon's efficiency rating was 97. Efficiency rating is how many points you got compared to how many points you could have got. So your actual lineup compared to your optimal lineup. And then Greasers were at 81%, but I don't think there's anything they really could have done to win this. So nice job, Landon. Then we have Real Slim Brady, Burns against Gar, Mr. Fist. Mr. Fist with the high score of the week at 160 beat Burns. Burns had 125, so 160 to 125. Man, Gar, when Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill go nuts, his team is pretty much unstoppable. Burns had a decent week. You know, he got 30 from Ramondre Stevenson, 25 from Dalvin Cook. Other than that, not a ton. Gar had a good week pretty much all the way around, so Gar got the win. Next, we have Evan Shearer against Pump and Munch. Evan had two open slots, and not only that, 2 open slots where he just didn't start a player. He's also started Jamal Williams, and Jamal Williams did not play. So he put up 47, and Pump and Munch put up 78. Imagine scoring 78 points and almost doubling your opponent and getting the win. It's fucking nuts. Yeah, so we're going to move on from that. You fan touch this. Lemke against Boggs, Fresh Prince of Elair. Yeah, Lemke pretty much did double up Boggs, 152 to 76. Yeah, Lemke had a really, really, really big week. Boggs had a real poor week. 26 out of Daryl Williams, but then, dude, I'm going to rattle off these numbers. A.J. Brown, 4. Randall Cobb, 4. A.J. Green, 0.4. MVS, 7. Zach Ertz, 6. Ryan Suckup, 7. Tampa Bay's D, 5. And his quarterback, Rodgers, only got him 15, so that ain't going to get it done. And then Lemke just fucking destroyed. So, dude, and even his bench, even Lemke's bench, like, holy fuck, man. Yeah. Okay, next we have Sam and Co. against Shit the Bed Fred. Sam and Co. got the win, only put up 104 points, but Prusky only put up 94 points. Let's see, Eagles defense, 11. Oh, if Prusky would have started the Eagles defense instead of the Broncos defense, he would have won. Yeah, that's pretty much all he could have done. So, but Sam and Co., didn't really have a big week out of anybody, but got enough to get it done. So, there you have it. And then me against Ricky 2000 Roofer. I got the win, 134 to 101. I had a big week out of AJ Dillon, which completely fucking saved me. He had a big week out of Josh Allen and Hunter Henry. And man, Hunter Henry had like 2 touchdowns to start the week. Josh Allen was killing it, and I'm like, fuck, Carson Wentz only got me 7 points. I really need to get Kyler back. But yeah, I got JT and AJ Dillon really, really helped me out this week, so ended up with the win. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to do a segment. I'm going to do most surprising player, so not your best player, but your most surprising in a good way, and then your most disappointing player. And I'm just going to rattle this off from top left to the bottom right in the rosters page. Again, I haven't really looked it over at all, so I'm just kind of winging it right now. But I can tell you from my team, the most surprising player for me is probably AJ Dillon, actually. He has 116 points. He's been splitting time with Aaron Jones. But AJ Dillon has been in double-digit fantasy points for 5 out of the last 7 weeks, including a 36-game performance last week. But before that, he has 13 points, and then -1, and then 9, so almost double digits, but then 17 and 15 before that. So AJ Dillon's actually been pretty good. Super happy to have him. I'll put him as my most surprising player, and then my most disappointing player, I think, has to be Brandon Ayuk. He's starting to get some work, but man, Deebo Samuel is just taking over the receiving role in that offense. So Brandon Ayuk, definitely my most disappointing player, which sucks. Also, with the most disappointing players, I'm going to really try not to factor in injuries. Otherwise, it would have been Cam Akers. But yeah. Next, we have Ricky 2000. I would say, first, I will say his most disappointing player. His most disappointing player has to be Josh Jacobs. Taken first overall a couple years ago. A.J. Dillon is outscoring Josh Jacobs by fucking 21 points. And Josh Jacobs was supposed to be a workhorse, supposed to be a 3-down back. He's not getting that work at all. Definitely disappointing. And then I would say most surprising player. Most surprising, I think, has to be probably Christian Kirk. I mean, Christian Kirk's got 120 fantasy points. Um, and that's with AJ Green and DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, Hopkins been hurt a little bit, but even with Hopkins in, Christian Kirk's been getting some work. So I'd say either Christian Kirk or Hunter Henry, but I don't know. Hunter Henry's pretty good. So yeah, I would definitely say Christian Kirk, most surprising player. Next, we have Cheeseheads with Attitude, Landon. Um, God, I would say most surprising player here. Most surprising player. It's got to be Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow's got 96 fantasy points. Um, but Hunter Renfro's been good. I mean, you pretty much start him every week. He's been getting good work, and the Henry Ruggs thing happened, so that gives him even more work. And then most disappointing here, I think, has to be Ronald Jones. Um, God, 36 fantasy points for fucking Ronald Jones. When, I mean, I think going into the year, everybody kind of expected there to be a split, some sort of split. There is no split. Ronald Jones does not touch the ball. That's it. He just doesn't get the ball. So, yeah, I would definitely say most disappointing Ronald Jones. Real Slim Brady, Burns. Gosh. Let's start with most surprising. And actually, I will say most surprising for him is going to be Emmanuel Sanders. I know we made that bet. Emmanuel Sanders against Sterling Shepard. And I think if Sterling Shepard were healthy, I think I would have him beat right now. But Emmanuel Sanders has been really good this year. Something that I did not see coming. I did not like Emmanuel Sanders coming into the year, but he's been pretty good. He's had a couple duds the last couple of weeks, but most receivers will have that. So yeah, I'm going to go with Emmanuel Sanders, and then most disappointing based off of expectations is probably Kyle Pitts. No, I'm not going to do that, but I'd say most disappointing has probably got to be. God, what the hell? I'll say LaVisca Chenault. He's only got 58 fantasy points. I think we just had higher expectations for Chenault. I know you did, Burns. I pretty much did too. I mean, I knew it was going to take a little time for him to be a superstar if he were to hit that, but I don't think he's going to hit that. I don't think he has a chance. Yeah, so I'm going to go with Chenault. All right, Greasers. Man, I could rattle off both sides, disappointment and surprising with this roster all day. But I'll try to narrow it down to one. First, most surprising player. I mean, of the candidates, of the legitimate candidates here, I could go with James Conner, Leonard Fournette, Mark Ingram. I could go with Jamar Chase even as a rookie. I could go with Dan Arnold here. I could go with Mike Gesicki here. Just surprising players all over the board. You're fielding a real nice roster right now. So I think in the end, I'm going to go with James Conner at 176 fantasy points. I don't think anybody really saw that coming at all. Everybody kind of knew Leonard Fournette after the playoff push last year. Everybody knew Leonard Fournette could do that. I don't think anybody expected Conner to do it, though. So I'm going to go with James Conner for most surprising. And then most disappointing, I'm going to have to go with... God, you don't have too many disappointing players. I don't know. I guess I'll have to go with like Marvin Jones, I guess. I don't know, but I don't even feel super comfortable doing that because Marvin Jones has 82 fantasy points. It hasn't been that bad. I'll go with Marvin Jones, though, because you have nobody else on your roster that's really been that disappointing. Maybe Sam Darnold, who's hurt now, but was having a pretty disappointing year. All right. On to the next, we have Evan Shearer. Most surprising in a good way. Let's go with Let's go with Derek Carr. 203 fantasy points. It's been real good for you this year. Just real good. Derek Carr, most surprising. Most disappointing, boy, you have a roster full of disappointing players. How about the rest of your roster? No, I mean, Calvin Ridley, he's on the he's on the IR, the NIR. But he's not hurt. I mean, he's got his own mental things going on. Cole Beasley's been disappointing. Tyler Boyd, Jarvis Landry only has 42 fantasy points on the year. Sterling Shepard's been hurt. God, yeah, this is a shit roster. But what are you gonna do? All right, you fan touch this. Lemke again. So many good players here. Most surprising. I am gonna go with Deebo Samuel. I'm gonna go with Deebo Samuel because he hasn't been hurt yet, and he's been a fucking monster. He's got 193 fantasy points. I mean, that's got to be way up there for fantasy points. But I'm gonna go with Deebo for most surprising, and then most disappointing. Most disappointing, I think I'm going to have to go with... yeah, that's a tough one. It's a really tough one. You don't have very many disappointing players on your team, so whoever I pick, I don't mean any disrespect. I don't know, probably Tua Tagovailoa, or Noah Fant. I don't know. Neither of them are really that disappointing. I could go Kittle, but he was hurt. But Kittle did have he was having a shit year before this last week. So I'll go with Kittle, I guess, because he was expected to do more, and he was only out for a couple games. So that's what I'm going with there. All right, Weiler's team. God, you got a fucking good team too, man. All right, most surprising, I think I'm going to go with... You got a couple options here. But I am going to go with Melvin Gordon at 142 fantasy points. He's been really good. Been better than Javonte fantasy points wise. Another candidate could be Michael Pittman, but I don't know. I think a lot of people expected the second year jump for Michael Pittman. So I'm going to go with Melvin Gordon for most surprising. And then most disappointing, I think I'm going to have to go with... God, you got a couple candidates here too. I'll go with Allen Robinson. 56 fantasy points. That is just fucking awful. I mean, I don't know how it happened. I don't know what's going on with Allen Robinson, but he's just not scoring fantasy points. So I'm going to go with him for most disappointing. All right, next we have Mr. Fist Gar. Most surprising, I am definitely going to go with most surprising will be really surprising. I will go with Dalton Schultz. Yeah, he's got 84 fantasy points for a tight end. That's really good. That's up there, top 5. Yeah, he's been really, really, really solid for you all year. Now with Michael Gallup back, we'll see kind of where he lands in the offense after that. But yeah, Dalton Schultz been fucking awesome. And then most surprising, I think I'm going to go with Marquez Callaway probably. Or wait. What am I doing? I'm fucking idiot. I'm an idiot. Most surprising is Dalton Schultz. Most disappointing has got to be I don't know. You don't really have any disappointments on your team. Say maybe McCole Hardman. I don't know. Everybody kind of thought McCole Hardman was going to take this jump. I was definitely not banking on that because it's not very good. Maybe T.Y. Hilton, but he's been hurt. So I'll go with McCole Hardman, most disappointing here. All right, and then Yacht, most surprising, I think has to go to... Definitely got to go to Corey Davis, I think. God, he's got 88 fantasy points. Pretty good. He's missed some games, though. He's missed a couple games, so his average isn't terrible. He's definitely a wide receiver 3, maybe wide receiver 2. But yeah, he's been pretty good. He's been solid. And then most disappointing on this team, I'm going to have to go with... God, I'll go with Bobby Tunyon. Only 42 points. Even before his injury, he was not doing very good. Yeah, I'll go with Bobby Tunyon, most disappointing. Ugh, sucks. Hurts me to say. All right, Brandon Boggs. Most surprising, I'm going to go with Brandon Cooks, hands down. Yeah, he's been really good for you this year. Really, really good for you this year. And then most disappointing, I'll have to go with... Shit. I'll go with Odell. It's got to be OBJ. Only 39 fantasy points. He's played in quite a few games this year. He hasn't been hurt the whole year, so $50 too. Fuck that. All right, and then on to Prusky's team. Got a couple candidates here. Most surprising has to be Cordero Patterson. Has to be. He has been so good. 160 fantasy points. Been awesome. Hopefully he plays tonight. We'll see. But yeah, definitely hands down, Cordero Patterson is most surprising. And then most disappointing here, I'm going to have to go with, off the top of my head, I'm looking at you, Miles Sanders. Jerry Jeudy was hurt, so I'm not going to throw him in there. Yeah, I'll go with Miles Sanders. Just hasn't been very good. Hasn't been getting a ton of work either. I don't know what's going on there. I have no idea, but Miles Sanders just, what a nightmare. I just wouldn't want him on my team at all. Fucking runner-up could be Trey Sermon, too. Fuck. Trey Sermon, like Brandon Ayuk, was in the doghouse. So we'll see. I don't know. As of right now, it doesn't look like Trey Sermon is going to pan out, but you never know what could happen. All right, so that's that. If anybody disagrees, feel free to comment. Again, I was kind of winging it, so yeah, maybe I should have spent a little more time doing it, but fuck it. Okay, so let's move on to this week's matchups and predictions. First, all right, here we go. So first we have Real Slim Brady against Cheeseheads with Attitude. If Landon can pull out a win here and come one game closer, he will be one game closer to making the playoffs. Let's look at the matchup. We got Tannehill against Brady. Usually after Brady has a shit game, he follows it up with a fucking 5-touchdown game, so we'll see what happens there. But Tannehill has been solid without King Henry, so Dalvin Cook and Ramondre Stevenson against Mike Davis and Dearness Johnson. Yeah, I'm taking Burns there all day. And then Lockett and Sanders and Kelsey, I guess, against Deontay Johnson, Hunter Renfrow, and Traquan Smith. Taking Burns there. Kyle Pitts against Tommy Tremble. Taking Burns there. And I'm taking Burns here. And I'm going to take Burns. All right, next we have Ricky 2000 against Shearer. I don't even have to fucking look at the matchup. I'm taking Ricky 2000. Josh Allen, I mean, at this point, do we think that Ricky 2000 could beat Evan's team with only Josh Allen starting? Nobody else. Josh Allen against Evan's whole team. Bring it. Yeah, but seriously, Evan, your team is trash. So I'm taking you, Roofer. Next, we have You Fan Touch This against Sam and Co. Oh, yes. Yes, these guys are tied. This is going to be a really, really, really fun matchup to watch. And in case you guys don't know, I do track the matchups fairly closely. Like, I make it a point not to look at any scores until halftime of the first set of games, of the noon games. Um, but yeah, after that, I'm just like, oh shit. And I do have a good time looking at these matchups. But yeah, so we have Lamar Jackson against Dak Prescott. That could, I mean, who knows? That could end in a fucking tie. We'll see. And then we have Christian McCaffrey and DeAndre Swift, and then Stephon Diggs against Austin Eckler, Najee Harris, and Darrell Henderson. Darrell Henderson has not been playing that well. Najee Harris has been good. He's been steady Eddie. And then Austin Eckler's been good, but Christian McCaffrey is fucking crazy. These fucking Panthers better stop giving Christian McCaffrey the ball. I'm not kidding. They're giving him the ball 30 plus times a game, and he has hamstring fucking problems. And then last week he has another hamstring issue. Then they just give him fucking more carries and more work and more work. They're up by fucking 30 points. Well, let's just send Christian McCaffrey out there. What are you fucking doing? Get him off the field if you're up by 30. Chuba Hubbard is not that bad. Anyway, neither here nor there. I love Christian McCaffrey. I love watching him play, but I hate that they think he is a 40-touch, between carries and catches kind of guy, and he really isn't, especially coming off a hamstring injury. Whatever. And then we got Mike Evans and Debo against Pittman and Thielen. That could honestly go either way, but I'm going to take Lemke. And then Kittle against Waller. Waller has been a huge disappointment this year, too. I'm probably going Kittle there. I'm going to take Lemke here, but yeah, Sam and Weiler and Brady's team is definitely good enough to get it done, but I'm going to take Lemke. Next, we have Greasers against me, Kaiser Soze. My team is just, Kyler is still banged up. DeAndre Hopkins is still banged up. They're two of my best players. I'm sick and fucking tired of not having them. I am not kidding you, out of my quarterback the last 3 weeks, less than 10 points. Every week, the last 3 weeks. This past week, Carson Wentz got me 7. The week before that, Tyrod Taylor got me 8, something like that. And the week before that was Kyler against the Packers, and Kyler got me 5. Less than fucking 10 points from my quarterback spot each of the last 3 weeks. All right, so we have Kyler against Daniel Jones. If it's not Kyler, it'll be Carson Wentz again. And then we have James Conner and Leonard Fournette against A.J. Dillon and Jonathan Taylor. I do like my running backs there, but would not shock me because Arizona's and Tampa Bay's matchups are really nice this week. And then I have Jeff Wilson in right now. I might go Deontay Foreman. I don't know. He looked pretty good. He did not look bad. So we'll see what happens with the whole Elijah Mitchell finger injury. I don't know. But he's got Keenan Allen, Jamar Chase, and Amari Cooper. Right now I have Jeff Wilson, Justin Jefferson, and DeAndre Hopkins. If Hopkins can't go, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll figure it out, though. But this is a really, really close matchup. And then Mark Andrews against Mike Gesicki, and I doubt Mike Gesicki gets shut out again. So I think I'm going to take me in this one, but I don't feel good about it. I really don't feel good about it. Because Daniel Jones could rip off a big run, could have a couple rushing touchdowns. I don't know, but yeah, I'll go with me for now. We'll see. Then we have Shit the Bed Fred against Mr. Fist. So we got Burrow against Patrick Mahomes, Saquon Barkley, Joe Mixon. By the way, I would take Mahomes in that. Barkley and Mixon against Zeke and Kamara. And I think I would take Zeke and Kamara there. And then Boston Scott against Marquez Callaway. That's a horse apiece. That's a crapshoot. Then Chris Godwin and Cordero Patterson against Tyreek Hill and CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to take Hill and Lamb. And then Goddard against Schultz. I will actually take Goddard there if he plays. I think he's in concussion protocol right now. But I'm going to take Gar in this one. Team is just too good. Too good. Yeah, Prusky, I don't know, man. Your team is always so good on paper, and you just can't find a way to bring it all together. I don't know. Next, we have Pump and Munch against Fresh Prince of Elair. Russell Wilson against Rodgers. I'll take Rogers in that one. And then Gibson, Darrell Williams against Gaskin and Aaron Jones. I don't know. It's a fucking horse apiece. It's a crapshoot, too. Rashad Bateman, Terry McLaurin, DK Metcalf against A.J. Brown, Brandon Cooks, and A.J. Green. I'm going Yacht there. And then Austin Hooper against Zach Ertz. I think I'm taking Yacht in this one, actually. McLaurin and Metcalf are pretty dangerous. Can be dangerous. They can also put up duds, so we'll see. I think it'll be close between those two, but I'm going to take Yacht. But I'm rooting for Boggs because, remember, I have Yacht's first rounder next year, so I want Yacht to lose till he gets to the Turd Bowl, then win away. Win all of them. Win out. That would be awesome. I would be very grateful. All right, so that's all I got for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Have fun this week, and good luck.